This conversation with Lauren, I would say, was a lot of fun. Um, we talked about very juicy things. We talked about the pelvic floor. We talked about embodiment. We talked about sex and pleasure. And she busted some very fun myths for us. And if you are a person with a vulva or you know some, which I'm sure you do, you got to listen to this. I think you're going to learn a lot. I think you're going to shift your thinking on a lot of things. And I feel like I learned a lot about why the pelvic floor is so important. And now I'm very curious about Lauren's course and her work and her book that's coming out, which is very exciting. So yeah, I really loved this and I can't wait for you to listen. Hi, Lauren. Welcome.
Hi, Marina. Thank you.
I'm very excited to talk to you. I think I was like reflecting on the video of yours from YouTube that got me so curious to talk to you. And I think it was the trembling one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, tremoring. I do a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it garners a lot of curiosity.
Yes. So maybe we could start a little bit there. I think it was very helpful for me in the last 2 years at a time when I was just really at a loss, in my trauma, and it really helped. So talk a little bit about that.
Specifically, like what is the benefit of tremoring or how to
Yes,
tremor
and
or
how does it work when, you don't have to really know what the stressor is, but it helps work with the stress that's in our bodies,
hmm
right?
hmm Yeah. So one of the things I talk about a lot is that, like, even if you think about I don't know, I think you're in the morning time in San Diego and I'm in Miami. It's 11 a.m. But like, if you think about all the things you've encountered, even maybe today or maybe yesterday, but like for most people, by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they've been through 3,000 experiences, multiple states, encountered multiple people. Even walking into the supermarket, you have to put on like think about it. We take it for granted, like the processes that our body goes through. Like just me this morning walking my dog. I actually walked my dog later than I normally do. And I walk her very, very early. Partially so I can find some owls and see the stars still. I really love owls. And partially because they're amazing. And partially because I don't want to see other people when I'm walking with her. She has a history of reactivity. She's no longer reactive, but I'm like predictive coding in there. So like I walk her very, very early. This morning I didn't. And so even this morning, just walking my dog Georgie, it was like constantly looking down the street. Are there people this way? Oh, 2 dogs coming that way. Oh, 5 dogs coming this way. Okay, go this way. No, turn around that way. But yet we do it effortlessly. And we don't really consult our nervous system about it. We just make these very quick snap decisions. So we go through, I call it shifting states. Like we go through a million different states in a moment. It's like when I landed in California a few weeks ago, I landed in San Francisco and I had to drive to Marin. I was teaching in Marin. And
I got beautiful there.
So beautiful. And I hadn't been to San Francisco in a very long time, maybe like 7 years, 8 years, more, like actually 10, 11 years when we thought about moving there after being in Costa Rica. And so I was driving and I got this rental car and now I have to drive to Marin and I don't know the roads very well and I don't know this car very well. And in order to get to Marin in one piece, I was very cognizant, because I do this work, of how much I needed to shut out in order to accomplish my task. Like I couldn't look, oh my God, I'm on this bridge. There's this bridge. Oh my God, look at San Francisco. I couldn't do any of that. And yet it was all tempting, right? It's all happening around me, tempting my attention to go there. And I'm not allowing my attention there. I'm staying very tunnel vision. And so throughout the course of the day, we have millions of things coming at us. And yet we maintain in this tunnel vision way in order to just maintain homeostasis in our nervous system and not to die, literally to not die, to not like have these stressful encounters, right? You see someone at the supermarket you don't feel like talking to, you beeline the other way, but you don't have these deep conversations of like, Marina, why did you go down the canned food aisle when you saw Jessica? You don't do that. But yeah,
I have to tell you, Lauren, that I do that in my brain.
Yes, you might. But the reality is if that we did that all day long, every day, we'd kind of die from overthinking, right? So we are designed, the human brain is designed to like just get us through the day, not to pay attention to everything and to just kind of stuff that away somewhere. However, the human body needs to complete the stress cycle. So there's like this very big difference between what we do as the human brain to get through life and what the human body actually needs to survive life. And so tremoring, this is a very long answer to a simple question,
I
but
love it. No, it's great.
tremoring is one way to complete a stress cycle. I teach many, many ways to complete stress cycles. And I believe that that each of us owes it to ourselves 30 seconds to 30 minutes a day. You can do it in as short as 30 seconds. You can do it for longer, but practice it. And I usually in my workshops, I teach this and I have like 8 or 9 practices you can do to just complete the stress cycle, to say to your body, I acknowledge that you went through a process today too. And that when you saw Jessica in lane 8, maybe you braced. And when you drove down like the highway in San Francisco on a freeway you've never been on with like bodies of water everywhere, wanting to take it in and you didn't, and then you compartmentalized to do this and you compartmentalized and you checked into your Airbnb and you fake smiled at the people and all you wanted to do was get into your room and fall on the bed and just exhale with gratitude that you had arrived. I see you, body. Dear body, I see you. And you complete a stress cycle. So you start in completing the stress cycle, you start to become more attuned and familiar to what you do when you do what you do. You start to become attuned and familiar, which is a beautiful thing because as you're walking, most of us just walk through life not realizing how much we're doing all day long. It's a good idea to just acknowledge and witness and be present to. Those things are not bad ideas. So that's ultimately tremoring there are multiple benefits to tremoring, but the main reason I really love the practice is it's a way to complete the stress cycle.
You know, I'm really curious, and you talk about this a lot, like women's health is not really studied a lot, and which is very annoying. And do you believe that women hold stress differently or like these stress cycles?
For sure. And I think women hold more than men. For sure. Absolutely. I think that women, we have way more autoimmune diseases, like way more risk of like our heart. Like there's just so many more risks to women. And I think it has to do with the fact that we hold things up. Systemic patriarchal systems that have oppressed and repressed us. And the burden of that, even if we live in a world that believes itself to be less oppressive, we are still living within systems of serious patriarchy. And I think that as women, we are naturally inclined to be more nurturing and caregiving and problem solving, taking, I'll just take that on. I'll just do it. I got it.
Yeah, totally. And can you break down for someone who doesn't understand a stress cycle, like what even is that and why is it important to complete it?
Yeah, because our nervous system, millions and millions and millions of years ago, before we were humans, we were just these cells. But like as cells, our way of survival was we could sense the rustling in the leaves of danger. We could sense sun. We could sense danger and we could sense safety. So our most primal coding as humans is sensation and feeling. And our brains, the thinking part of our bodies, which dominate, grow embryologically out of the same place as our skin grows. Like we are at our primal, again, we are like sensing, feeling bodies. And yet we do everything with our brain, our thinking brain. And we rarely pay attention to the inner body of it all, like the feeling, sensing body. And it's incredibly important because our body is sending us signals all day long about what is safe and what is unsafe. And if we can't feel those, we're consistently and constantly getting into situations where we have no idea if it's safe or unsafe. Like we're kind of like not really sure and not really trusting ourselves. And we're shutting out a big part of, we're shutting out like a major sense, right? If our senses are hugely important to our survival. Why aren't we connected more to our senses and our feels? And so completing the stress cycle is, again, a way to not only complete a cycle, but it's a way to acknowledge and witness and feel. And our nervous system is a main driver of our health. So if we're not paying attention to our nervous system and what it's going through and it's what its needs are and what it's feeling and what it's sensing, then again, we are stepping more and more into a space of dis-ease. So I think that nervous system medicine is really, really important medicine to be doing. And we don't think about it a lot because we have all these other unique ways to find health and wellness, most of them external inputs. So it becomes very easy to not take care of that part of the body that is really hard to sense. In my workshops, I do this exercise. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but in my workshops, I do this exercise where I have people close their eyes. And then I have them think of like an incredibly recent, or not recent, but like an incredibly stressful moment, and put themselves there, feel it, be with that person, be with that experience, smell the smells, hear the sounds, where were you? And then feel your body. Like be in it and feel your body. And where do you feel it? And to write it down, we have a workbook, and to like write down where in your body you felt stress. And we do the same thing for joy, like where in your body do you feel joy? But what a lot of people end up coming back to me and reporting back again and again is, I never knew I carried I never knew that, like, let's say it's a chest tightening. I never knew that my chest tightening, that's how I reacted to stress. And I'm now noticing when I'm in stressful situations, I suddenly do feel it. And how interesting that I'm feeling it around certain people. And I've become so much more aware that I don't want to be near certain people because ultimately I don't feel safe with them. So like, what a beautiful gift to give yourself, that your body is always talking to you, but are you feeling and listening and hearing it? So the value of completing a stress cycle is you become more in tune with what your body is saying to you. You become more familiar. You just start listening. It's like turning your radio station to a different station. You're just listening to yourself in a very different way. We're just so used to listening to ourselves talking or thinking.
Totally. And you start to know your needs, your desires, your boundaries. Yeah.
Totally. And you start cutting people out. You're like, okay, my body actually doesn't feel safe with that person. I'm just not going to see them that much anymore.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or if it's someone you live with that you can't not see, then having a conversation and starting to inquire about, like, are you happy? Is there something to get clear on?
Yep. That's where somatic work led me. Definitely.
Yeah.
So what are some simple ways? I know this is like basically the body of your work, but what are some simple ways that people can complete, we could say release stress in a way, or complete stress cycles in their daily life? And is this like your routine? Like, do you, like, you know how we brush our teeth or we work out or whatever, is this part of your lifestyle?
Very much. I definitely, I have this story that I tell in person where I was walking. It's a long story. I'm going to shorten it a lot, but I was like in England and I was with my best friend and I was walking, and we were in this beautiful royal park that she was so excited to take me to. And suddenly while I was there, I had this, I remembered that I hadn't filled this really important prescription for my daughter. And I suddenly was like, I've got to contact the pharmacy. And anyway, I was like, and she's like, we're in this beautiful park. It's like the only sunny day in 3,000 dark days. Like, can we just enjoy this park? And I was like, no, I have to get this prescription done now. Like, I'm not going to remember. And it's like my daughter's birth control pills. I got to get it done. Like, there's no way to not do it. And so like, just stop everything. And like, the app's not working. And I, of course, call my mom because she's the next most competent human in my life. And Jewish moms are the best. And I have her on speaker. And I'm like, very also like, pulled back. I'm no longer in this beautiful park surrounded by beautiful people and the beautiful sun, enjoying like the weather and enjoying my friend and nature. I'm literally just like in this, like my phone and my task, and calling my mom on speaker. And And she's like, I'm like screaming the password at her, which is a combination of curse words and sex positions. And literally, she's
I
trying to
love it.
order this on the app. And she's like, what? And then this woman walks right up to me and she's like, are you Lauren Ohayon? And I was like, of course, I get recognized in a park in England as I'm shrieking to my mom, probably disturbing the peace, like about to get a ticket for disturbing the peace, cursing, sex positions. And I was like, I am. But the thing is that I was, you know, and so after, so that's what I talk about. Like, and as I tell this story, I say, like, I'm probably not alone in, like, we probably have experiences like that 100 times a day, right? Like, again, I'm managing the park. Like, if you have kids or you have parents or you have dogs or pets, like, there's just so much all the time. Or if you live life, right? If you have a job, if you live life, like, there's just so much to do. And everyone, I like, as we're talking, I see 15 texts from my children rolling in, like my adult children, right? So, like, there's just a lot happening. And as I got off the phone with my mom, and I literally was like, I feel like I'm out of breath from that experience. Like my mom, the meds, the cursing, and then this woman recognizing me and being like, oh my God, you're Lauren Ohayon. Can we talk about that? Why are you in England? And that whole conversation was a whole thing. You know, it was like, I just needed a minute. And I said to my best friend, I was like, no more than a minute, but I need a minute. And I just stood and I just grounded myself and I just did like one round of breath. And I tried to just like get out of my thinking head, feel my body, feel the space. Like I just tried to like be in relationship to myself and then relationship to the world around me. I was like, first come into relationship with yourself. Then you're going to come into relationship to the space around you. Then you're going to open your eyes and be ready to roll. And it was just a minute. But yeah, so yeah, like I have like, every day I do something for myself where I just reiterate to myself that I'm paying attention. And sometimes it's just like being more mindful on my walk. Like I try not to I take a big walk every morning. I try not to like text. I try not to like, try to be very present. Like I'm tripping out on some acid and I'm like, yeah, look at the trees, look at this. But that's not really completing a stress cycle. That's an enjoyable thing. So there is a really big difference between like enjoying things and completing a stress cycle, which is where your terminology of like releasing stress is not terminology I necessarily use for this, just because I like to acknowledge to myself that what I'm doing in the moment is listening and paying attention and giving my body its daily dose of medicine, the way I take like an omega-3. It's my day. So sometimes it's a 5-second thing and sometimes it's like a 20-minute thing. Mm-hmm. Every day it's kind of different, but every day I try to give myself that attention.
Mm-hmm. And would there be a difference for you if you just went through a big stressor? Or, of course it wouldn't be completed in one day, but like what would you do there versus, because what you're describing is like, oh, I'm already present in the present moment, looking at the trees and feeling this aliveness inside of me. But then if there was a big stressor, how would you approach that? And it seems like in most of our lives, there's big stressors lately nonstop.
I recently had a big business breakup. I had started a business. I started my business, created a very successful platform. Then I wanted to start a prenatal business and I brought in a partner, gave her my whole platform, gave her my business, gave her everything, gave her my audience, like really trusted her. And she broke that trust and broke our partnership and spread a whole bunch of lies about how the partnership ended. And it was really hard. Like I didn't talk about it. It was the worst because I pull people into my life as family. Like if I trust you, you get everything from me. I'm very ride or die. So I have very, very, very few close friendships because they are literally like, and my father is like this too. Like he's just like the most, I grew up with parents who are very, very safe in that way and gave everything and continue to give everything. And they're just so wonderful. And so I am very, very, very generous with my everything, not just financially, just every way. And I know that about myself. Like, and I'm proud that I can be like, that I have not had an upbringing that made me suspicious. I'm very giving. And so that betrayal
I have
was,
to say, I'm so jealous. Growing up with a Ukrainian
lucky.
Jewish family, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. Be
Yeah,
suspicious of all. Communism is everywhere. Like,
totally.
no.
Everybody's coming for you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I
But
grew
it's
up with
funny because
so much love.
I'm not that way in my nature,
Yeah.
but it's always there. Like there's parts, like that's
Yeah.
really not who I am, and I at my core I'm very trusting and loving.
Mhm.
That's my first like reaction to people. But
Mm,
then there's that voice because I grew up that way.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I didn't
it's
have like a perfect childhood. There was a lot of difficulty and there was a lot of fracture within our family system, right?
yeah.
And stuff. But again, the way that what my parents showed me was just an insane amount of like love and kindness and generosity. And my friends were always welcome in the home and they were just so kind to my friends. And like, so it was just like a very, like,
Mhm.
bringing people in. I grew up in a home with like a million people always walking through the door and my parents always welcoming them. So again, I just grew up in this like very open door. My house was open, like everybody was coming through. My friends were welcome. My boyfriends were welcome. There was just all of that. And then, so I just, in this business relationship, is the same, right? And I really never saw this happening. I never saw, when we
Wow.
partnered, I never saw the end of this partnership. Also because it was like very much based on all my ideas and my existing business, Restore Your Core. It was really Restore Your Core for pregnancy. So anyway, it was like just very devastating. The breakup was devastating
I'm
and
so sorry.
lasted 9 months. And for 9 months, I didn't smile. Like it didn't reach my eyes. I could smile, but it wasn't in my eyes. And then we finally finalized the whole deal, da 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 da. And I just remember waking up the morning of my 49th birthday and taking my morning walk, or a few days before my 49th birthday, which now I'm 49, so just a few months ago, and taking a walk and thinking, I'm so fucking ready to feel good again. I'm so fucking ready to just let go of this because I hadn't been ready to. My truth was, I was unhappy and pissed and angry and hateful and mad and angry at myself and mad about myself and had no forgiveness for myself. And when I woke up on the morning of my 49th birthday, I was like, ready to forgive myself, ready to let go of my shame. And I think so. What, like, I think part of like the answer to your question is like when I'm dealing with something really, really big, I'm not forcing fake happy either.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, like, there was a lot that I enjoyed in this last year, even though there was so much difficulty. But I was very aware that I was so unhappy. And so when I had this feeling in my body of this desire to finally release it felt so right and real. And I really said to my body, thank you, thank you for telling me that. Thank you. Because in my mind, I knew I needed to let it, like, I just knew I had to move on. I knew it was going to kill me. Like, if I didn't stop ruminating over how fucking stupid I was that I let this happen to me and how I didn't see this was actually going to be the end result and all the conversation, I knew it was going to kill me. And I was terrified of that. And I knew it was going to kill me. And the fact that I woke up and my body was like, I'm so ready for something new. And it wasn't here. Like, I felt it in my body. It was like, Lauren, we are releasing you from it. You may be released. And it was so welcome. And so I think that like part of like when you're going through something really, 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 really big is also acknowledging like, you don't have to be happy. You don't have to be happy, and you don't have to also like perpetuate victimhood. Like, I was also like, you can just be open to what is.
Yeah.
Right. You
Yeah.
just be open to reality and what is, and allow your body to move through it while you feed it the best medicine you can. And you do your very, very best. Like, I had to really work hard not to tell myself all those stories. Right? I had to really work hard to control my mind, which is where like the years and years of mindfulness really helped. Every time I would spin out into a story of shame and blame, I would stop myself like 5 seconds in. I wouldn't,
And then
yeah,
go into feeling whatever you were
just tell
feeling.
myself to shut the fuck up. Like, I'm really good at that. Like, just be like, shut up. Yeah. And sometimes feel what I'm feeling, or sometimes just be like, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there.
Mm.
And I think that I work with people who have really serious injuries, and the people that I see healing the easiest or the fastest, or like having healing, like the most satisfied, the people I see really satisfied in their healing journey are the ones who know how to shut the fuck up too. And the ones that I see just staying in hypervigilance and perseveration and constantly looking for where it hurts and looking to feel pain and looking for corroboration from the environment that they're like, and yeah, just looking for like all the evidence to prove that they're broken, they don't heal as satisfactory to themselves. And the ones who are willing to stop with the stories and to just be present in the moment and to learn to shut up. You have to learn to shut up to heal. You really do. Yes, you need to feel to heal, but you need to learn to shut up, because you're probably not accurately reporting the news. You are just more information gathering to prove just how broken you are. So either tell a new story of I'm okay, which isn't a lie, just like I'm okay, I'll be okay, or shut up.
Or look for evidence, right, that everything is okay in this moment.
That's right. That's right. And slowly, because people will write to me about their progress, and they're like, yeah, I used to have pain 100% of the day. Now I have it 95%, only 95% of the day. Why can't it be like 50% of the day? And I'll be like, wait, what'd you just say? You actually just said that you have 5% pain less every day. Do you realize, like, now you're on you're actually on the trajectory to healing. You are healing. That's incredible. Like, look for all those small, exactly what you just said. Like, find evidence for all the small ways you're healing, because you are healing.
Yeah.
And hang out in that of my body is changing, my body is healing, I'm changing, I'm healing, instead of like, is it going to hurt in an hour? Should I not go on that walk? Is that walk a bad idea? Walks are bad for me. Walks are definitely bad for me. I definitely shouldn't go on that walk. How about walks can be great for me? I think I'll take a 5-minute walk, and then I'll celebrate the win, that it was great. Instead of a 3-hour walk where I can now cry over the loss and the corroboration and the evidence building.
Yeah. So kind of changing it up, you talk a lot about the pelvic floor. Why is this important?
Because we have been conditioned in multiple ways and multiple lenses to not feel our body. Specifically, the pelvic floor has been, and it is contextualized as a place that just squeezes, lifts, and holds, but it is actually one of your most vital postural muscles. It is not a squeeze and lift. And so it is like, if your breathing matters, your pelvic floor matters. If your spine matters, your pelvic floor matters. Like, it is part of all those systems. If your core matters, your pelvic floor matters. And it is one of the very first places that we grip in response to tension. And feeling safe in our pelvic floor is exactly how to start. You can't be safe anywhere if you're not safe in all of you. All of you needs to be known to you, familiar to you, felt by you, to really have true agency, embodiment, and safety. As the mom of 20-year-old daughters, so I have 3 daughters ranging from ages 16 to 20. So they talk very openly with me about their bodies and sex and all the things. And my oldest daughter, who goes to a university and she's in a sorority, specifically loves for me to educate her and her friends about, because they're all having non-pleasurable sex and they're tired of it, and they're tired of not, and they know that if they come to me and they say it, I won't shame them for having sex premaritally, right? I won't shame them for having sex. I'll celebrate them for having sex, and I will make it my life's mission to make sure their pleasure is met. And I will help them understand why their pleasure may not be met in their bodies and what's at play. And I will never make them feel broken. And so what I see is that we have raised such empowered, like women these days are so empowered and so not embodied. They know everything about sex, but they know nothing about pleasure and sex.
It's so tell us, like, what would you tell these women? These 20-year-old
Well, it really just depends on, it depends on, like, so one of her friends was having very painful intercourse. I mean, there's like so many different layers of knowing your pelvic floor. There's just the baseline of like, do you like, this is a hand and it has 5 fingers and there's skin covering it. And then you've got these joints and your hand can do, all these things, like it can squeeze and grasp and reach and extend. There's all of that. But then there's like, wait, now this hurts. Why does this hurt? So it depends on, I think that like whatever I offer, but what I want people to know about their pelvic floor is that it's this like incredibly nerve-rich neighborhood, very sensory. It is, again, the all the bad names we have for women imply a sexual connotation. Slut. There's a sexual connotation. Cunt, which I love the word cunt, and I think we need to bring it back.
Reclaim it.
Yeah, 100%. Cunt is an amazing word. It was like I'm pretty sure that the origins are like a Norse word for vagina.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But pussy, calling people who are weak pussies. I mean, a lot of language around weakness and amorality and immorality are rooted in words for fucking vulva, vagina. Not to mention that no one says the word vulva and everyone just talks about the hole. Why are we so focused on the hole and not the vulva? People don't know that their clitoris is huge, that it's not just a little button, that it's actually like large and stemmy and leggy and reaches this way and that way. Most people don't know that it's totally actually okay not to have internal orgasms. There's all these like feminists who are telling women that they're not actually good enough because they don't have internal orgasms. Fuck you. That's not true. Bullshit. And bodies are amazing and unique and different, right? In the same way that you don't want to eat a tomato, but this one loves a tomato, and you don't like cilantro, and this one like not everyone orgasms the same way. Can we get off that, please? Like, no pun intended. So it's just like giving permission to like explore your pleasure. A lot of what I do with my daughter and her friends is like, I buy them all vibrators all the time. I sent, permission to explore, permission to enjoy, permission to just feel, know, relate to, but also know that it's not just this body part related to sex and sexuality and babies and pregnancy and disease. It's so much cooler than that.
Hello there. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. I appreciate you so much. And if you can just take one little moment and help me make this podcast a success and support us, please just subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave me a little comment. I want to hear from you. How's this landing for you? Is this interesting? What are you learning? What are your takeaways? Again, thank you for being here. I love you, and let's get back into it. So what encompasses the pelvic floor? Like what is it?
Yeah. So it's like at its base, it's like a hammock of muscles. And it's like a group of muscles shaped like a hammock that have connections to the front, your pubic bone. So if you just go ahead and touch your pubic bone, on the inside of that bone, you've got muscles that attach there. Connects to your tailbone. You can go ahead and touch your tailbone. Muscles connect to that. And then at the sides, and your sitting bones too. So you've got this kind of diaphragm of muscles. So it's not like a hand that can squeeze. Right?
So what can
or
I do?
A leg that can lift. It does. It like when I think about what it does, it like if you take a water balloon, imagine a water balloon and squeeze. And now imagine that the water balloon is shaped like a oval, like a long oblong shape, almost like a penis. right?
I
And
was
now
gonna say that sounds
yeah, yeah, long for anybody who's listening and not watching, just like a long oblong shape. And then you squeeze the top of that water balloon. You know that the bottom is going to fill, expand, and kind of fill. And then when you unsqueeze it, it's going to condense, squeeze, and all. So, how do you describe that? I mean, some people, because you can squeeze those muscles, relegate it to squeeze, but actually, the pelvic floor is more in response to. Actually, if you put your hands on your belly right now, put your hands on your belly and cough, you feel your belly tightening. You didn't tell your abdominals to tighten. They reflexively, responsively tightened in response to coughing, which we don't have to get into the mechanics, but coughing is a breath action, right? You're doing something like you're forcing your exhales out. So your pelvic floor and your core wall are actually in response to the narration of your breathing. So what is your pelvic floor? It is literally a story that's being told all day long based on your movements and your breath. It is just in response to it. It is getting fuller, lifting up. It is contracting. It is yielding. It is lengthening. It is strengthening. It is pulling. It is pushing. Sure. Is it squeezing? I don't know. That's pathetic. Like, squeeze is so binary and one-dimensional. The pelvic floor is not one-dimensional. It's like this wraparound structure system. And it's holding all these organs. Your uterus, your rectum, your bladder. Well, that is being held there.
It sounds to me, I don't know why I get the image of a jellyfish.
Yeah, it's got very jellyfish-like qualities. Well, your diaphragm is very jellyfish-like with all its legs coming down and stuff. So yeah, it's like the bottom of your diaphragm, your respiratory diaphragm. It's the floor of your respiratory diaphragm. And because it's holding all these organs, it's constantly having pressure. Like, imagine, like, just push your fingers into your cheek. Like, it's got pressure on it all the time. So it's got this dynamic power and relationship, and there's blood flow, and there's ligaments and tendons and things holding things together. And there's just like this entire kind of fluid, buoyant, elastic system of your pelvic floor. And yet we relegate it to just like, hold your pee. No. Don't do that to me.
So Kegels don't work. Is what I
think. They don't work. They're just binary. Like, if you don't look at the anatomy of the pelvic floor and you know nothing about anatomy, maybe you could convince yourself that Kegels would be a good idea. But if you think Kegels are a good idea, why aren't you also walking around with your shoulders hunched all day long and your hands clenched all day long and your jaw, like, if I pick up a slice of pizza or any food, my body begins to make a series of events very quickly to bring that food like into my mouth, to chew, everything from like salivary to endocrine to hormonal to like muscular, to move the food to the back of my mouth. Like, my whole body, and like my insulin starts to change, like all these hormones in my gut change. Like, our bodies know how to do what our body, like, Kegels implies that your pelvic floor doesn't know what it needs to, like, isn't responsive and reflexive, like somehow got missed, like that it missed the boat on that. And it's like, so it's devoid of that process, which it's not. And it implies that as you move throughout the day, the way to stay safe is to stay squeezed and gripped and lifted. Like, in what scenario is that squeeze going to help you? Because if your pelvic floor anyway is not squeezing in response to pressure, it's actually changing shape in response to pressure. How is training it to squeeze? It's like saying you should squeeze your hand all day long to get stronger, as opposed to like use your hand all day long to get stronger. Like, what is the better way to get a stronger hand? You can grip it all day long, or you can actually use it. The same thing with any muscle in your body. Like, when I weight train my arm muscles, I don't actually just squeeze them and hold there. I use them. I move, I push, I pull, I go places with my hands and arms.
So how do we train our pelvic
Yeah,
floor?
it's a good question. I mean, because so many of us are unconditioned. So there's I wouldn't be able to our pelvic floor, unfortunately, has been at the receiving end of physical abandonment and cultural abandonment. So how do we start to change that? I mean, first you got to feel to heal. So one of the first things I'm always getting people to do is can you feel it? At a base level, before we start to condition it, can you actually feel it? And so there's protocols that I bring people through just to start to feel their pelvic floor. And then it's let's talk about the ways that you might be over pressurizing your pelvic floor all day long, which is not ideal because again, if the pelvic floor is supposed to be, again, kind of going through its full range, there are certain things that prevent it and lock it down. And so posturally, standing certain ways, breathing certain ways, holding your ribs in, gripping. I mean, there's just a whole bunch of it's a whole body, resolving pelvic floor tension or making sure your pelvic floor is well conditioned also means taking care of, tending to the garden of postural things, breathing things, certain core concepts. I mean, these are things I go through in my 12-week Restore Your Core program. And it's not like it's some secret that I can't share with you here. It's just that do we have another hour? But
Or 10.
there are certain things in the body that that again prevent the pelvic floor from having its function. It's like, imagine you held your shoulder up for years and years, and then someone was like, okay, well, how do we resolve that? Well, I can't just tell you drop your shoulder. At this point, we've got to do more than just drop your shoulder, right? So, but that being said, again, attending to ascribing to. If you look at my Instagram, I give it all away. There's making sure your inner thighs are taken. There's you're attending to your body in a very juicy, 3D, mobile, multi-dimension way is a great idea. So I see so many people just stuck on either weight training or, there's just and I love weight training. I do it every day, but pelvic floor, because our pelvic floor has been so deconditioned, then reconditioning it is, again, a goal you might have, right? Oh, I want to learn how to shuffle dance. I'm going to go through those steps. Oh, I want to get my pelvic floor integrated back into my body. There's certain steps I need to take. It's not just knowing up here, but there's certain action steps you would take. I don't mean to sound like it's the secret recipe that only I have the answers to, because that's not true either.
It makes sense. What are the benefits of that? What are the benefits
a more integrated, I would say feeling more of you, having a more integrated relationship with you. The thing about the pelvic floor is that in my experience, way more than 1/3 of females will have a pelvic floor issue at some point in their life. Leaking, painful sex, prolapse. When you go through menopause, you lose a lot of estrogen. And estrogen is one of the hormones that really keeps our pelvic floor juicy and lubricated and filled with the essential, just juicy and lubricated and having a good tensile strength. And estrogen, people don't realize its effect on muscles. It's a very strong protector of muscle and bone. So, people who never have a pelvic floor issue. I mean, if somebody tells me they leak urine when they run and their doctor told them that's just normal, I would be like, that's actually not normal. And I wouldn't put up with that answer if I was anybody. That's not normal. Is it common? Yes, very common. But your pelvic floor can do better. So I think a lot of people, I was at I went to a concert a few months ago, and then I was driving home with a group of strangers. They asked me for a ride, no big deal. It was a Krishna Das concert, so everybody's there going to be of the same type. And they were just oh, and what do you do? They were these really sweet yoga girls. And they were what do you do? And I was oh, it's always hard to describe. So I just say I'm a pelvic floor therapist. I don't say I'm a physical therapist, but a pelvic floor therapist. And all of them, there were 3 of these girls, they all younger than 30, no kids, none of them, all admitted to me to a pelvic floor issue. Like one started with like, oh my God, I've been needing to talk to somebody at pelvic floor land because I leak all the time when I run. It's so annoying. The other one was like, oh yeah, is it normal to have painful sex? And then the third one was like, I kind of have both of those. I mean, it was just amazing to see. And I was like, how often in your circles are you admitting to this? And all three of them were like, no, just because you said you're a pelvic floor therapist, we like talked about it. So I think it's happening. And the alarming rate that my daughter and her friends are calling me for these issues, all of them, the same issues. Like, don't tell me it's 1 in 3 women.
But also more pleasure, no? More, like, not just less pain, but more pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, unfortunately, the pelvic floor is always contextualized in terms of pain or pleasure. And it's a lot more than that. It is a deep core support. It helps your breathing mechanism. It's great for your, like, it's important for posture. It's important for so many. Pelvic floor is like the center. It's like where weight transfers up from walking, like where force is absorbed through walking. I mean, it is a powerful fucking area of our bodies. We should be in touch with it because it is there, because it is part of our home.
And I so agree. I mean, I am a survivor of sexual assault. That was like my first experiences. So that I couldn't feel that area for most of my life.
Oh, yeah.
At all. It was like
which is a coping mechanism, a beautiful, beautiful coping mechanism, an amazing coping mechanism. Thank God we can do that.
Yes.
And then thank God when we're ready, we can say, I'm ready to have a different relationship with that part of my body. Let me back in. I'm ready to come back in. And, you know, people who are sexual assault survivors, like, a lot of times what we're asking them to do in modern world is too much, too fast, too soon. We're just like, you know, and the message to them is you don't fit because of this thing that happened to you and this thing you went through. You don't meet like the criteria. So, you know, and even something like the advice to do your Kegels can be so toxic and harmful, as opposed to like, can you just feel your pulse? Can we start with you just feeling your pulse of your pelvic floor? There's a pulse in there. Do you feel it? You know, and that can be so empowering because it's like, we're just asking you to connect to the heartbeat that's down there. Just feel your heart beating in your pelvic floor, which is a beautiful thing. But instead we're like, can you squeeze? That is not necessarily the right action for someone who's gone through sexual assault.
It's not very gentle.
Not at all.
Yeah. You know what helped me a lot was yoni eggs. Are you a fan of them?
Yeah, I'm a fan of them, but not for the reason like that other people might think I'm a fan of them. I'm a fan of them because they help you. I'm a fan of them because they help you feel. I'm not a fan of them when you use them to squeeze them a million times for the sake of getting a stronger, tighter pelvic floor, because a lot of people with a too tight pelvic floor are too tight. A lot of people with pelvic floor issues are too tight. So this idea that your pelvic floor, the tighter it is, the healthier it is a problem. And some people in the yoni egg world perpetuate that myth, as opposed to using it, again, just to use it as a source of feedback. It's an amazing source of feedback, relationship. I mean, I'd love to know from you what was amazing about it.
It actually helped me access a lot of grief that was stored there that I haven't felt before in that way in a long time. And so when I would use them, it would make me sob for many, many, many months in a safe way. Well, at that time in my life. And so, and I feel like it brought back sensation. Like it woke up.
Exactly. Yeah. So for that reason, they're extraordinarily valuable because it's like when I work with clients and I ask them to take their hand and sit on their perineum so they can feel their breath in their hand. And sometimes people say to me, like, why do we have to have our hand there? Like, can't, and I say, because so many people can't map their brain to their pelvic floor. So the yoni egg maps your brain to your pelvic floor in a way that another object could, but it's just got this soft, smooth, gentle way to it. It's just the right size for a lot of people. It's, it's not aggressive, so it's a great way. Suddenly the brain is like, oh, mapped. Whereas if you just tell someone, feel your pelvic floor, it's like crickets. It's like, what do you mean feel it? Like, what do you want me to feel for? What am I looking for? Is it hot? Is it cold? Feel what? Feel what? But when you put the egg in there, it's like, oh, I feel that. It's like someone coming to you and just pressing against you. It's like, oh yeah, I feel that. Do you feel that? Yeah. But before your fingers were there, they didn't. They might not feel that body area. Same thing.
I'm also really curious to ask you. There are a lot of people who are very anti-vibrators, and you're not. Tell us more. Have you heard this? Like, so many people.
Yeah. There's a lot of like feminist circles that I really don't know what they're going on about, to be honest. I think they're actually like really toxic. That would be one of them. Show me the research that a vibrator desensitizes the clitoris and we can talk. Everyone I talk to, it's a powerful tool on multiple levels, and it's wonderful. It gives pleasure. It's pleasurable. Like, I for all the things that I could moan about as toxic or harmful for a female body, that is not one of them. It's like, it just feels trite to me.
Are there any more myths like that? I feel like you're so good at breaking down the myths.
So many, right? There are so many. But
what are some of your favorites to bust right now?
Well, I love the idea of busting that you have to orgasm a certain way. That one type of, orgasm is better than the other. Wow, I do myth busting all the time, but none of them are coming to my brain right now. I think also I like busting the myth that tighter is better. A tighter pelvic floor is not what we're after. I think that a lot of women don't know, that like getting your pelvic floor too tight can be a problem. And I think there's so many myths about the female body, but many of them are eluding me right now. I'm working on 2 hours of sleep last night, but
oh no.
Yeah, but I'm good.
I think people should just go to your Instagram, because there's
so many there. So many there. Yeah.
You do this all the time.
I love myth busting.
Yeah. So as we start to close, I think I have one more question here for you, which is, what is embodiment for you? How do you define it?
Yeah. So like, if you look at your hand, I'm always like example driven, but if you look at your hand, like, again, your hand, you see your hand, you do 1,000 things with your hand every day. But I could take you on, I could say, okay, look at your hand, notice the skin that's covering it, notice what your hand feels like against your face, but also notice what your face feels like against your hand. And then, so that's two different things, right? And then go back to looking at your hand, and then notice that like actually each finger, there's like, each finger has 3 joints, and those, like, go ahead and you can wiggle each joint separately, and you can then move, you like curl just your fingers, but you could curl your fingers and the palm of your hand, but you could even extend that into like curling at your wrist. And then you could kind of uncurl your wrist by starting slowly and then uncurling the palm of your hand and then moving to your fingers. And then go ahead and like spread your fingers out. And from that spreading, reach your fingertips to the ceiling. And then looking at your hand, curl your fingers in and reach back down to you. And now you're embodied in your hand. You're like, whoa. It's like you're tripping out on your hand. Like your hand is no longer just like dangling off your body. It's like this really amazing body part with like many joints. And I could just go on and on, like so many joints. And this part of the hand is actually like the palm of our hand is like longer bones. Here it's like smaller. And the reason we have that like that is so that we can like use our fingers as pincers and grab things and pull things towards us and push things away from us. And you start to get embodied. Like you're just like, oh my God, my hand is so cool. It's alive. It's this 3D structure. It's like got skin and I can do all these cool functions. And you're like, you're not just like knowing what functions they are, you're doing the functions. You're literally experiencing the functions. And then if I ask you to close your eyes and hold your arms down and feel the difference between the hand you just played with and your other hand, you'll notice that the other hand feels almost kind of inert, dead, not as alive, not as full, not as like, and it's like, wow, just shifting attention for 5 minutes. And again, I'll have people do these things where I like pull the hand in, pull the hand out, reach up from the fingers, curl in, and just feel like you're doing it not from the direction do it, but from the function. Like let the hand do the movement. And then suddenly you're like, oh, it's like this really cool thing. And you can do that in your whole body. And I think like when you go to exercise and you're just like, I'm pulling, I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm pushing, I'm reaching, great. But there's actually another way to do it, which is like be in your body and feel actually like your body moving through, like feel your body kind of doing these things and feeling like, oh, it's my spine. And I've got this really cool 3D spine and the front is doing this and the back is doing that. Like there's just a way to like be in your body. So embodiment to me is another way to inhabit your body. It's like going that layer in where you're not just performing with your body, but you are your body. Like you've become that object. You are the object that you're working with. And I love embodiment because I think that makes you feel more 3D in the world. You're not like flat like paper. You're thick and full, like you're alive and you're like alive and present. It's very, very cool to do embodiment. How do you define embodiment?
Feeling ourselves.
Yeah, I could have just said that, right?
No, I like yours. I like yours very much. It's like a whole process to lead there. I guess I'm very focused on the sensations inside. I've always been one of those like go deeper, deeper, deeper. And I like to just like feel the sensations inside. That to me. Yeah. Yeah,
I think we're just, if people aren't given the tools to feel, and they're given words, a lot of words, feel this, feel that. And they're like, oh, fuck, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Feel what?
And then our whole culture is not set up for it. Like we're so heady and we are functioning and we're compartmentalizing and we are numbing out. And it's like constant. Yes. And trauma makes us very numb. I mean, I was dissociated for most of my life and that really helped. Like you said, it's very intelligent, but it's also very painful. Like you're like distant from yourself and distant from life and you're not really living. Like you're not like fully alive.
I think you feel like you're missing something, but you're not sure what.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Oh, well, this was such a rich conversation. Is there anything you haven't shared that you want to share?
No, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
You too. And how can people work with you? So there's your Instagram we're going to link. There's your course.
Restore Your Core, my 12-week program is a great entry into a lot of this stuff.
Cool. And do you work one-on-one, like online with people still?
I do. I usually have like a 5 to 6 month wait list. It's not easy to get an appointment. But I have a lot of trained teachers who are incredible and I send people their way all the time.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.